How Chamillionaire went ghost and quietly built an $80 million fortune.
My name is Chamillionaire. A lot of y'all know me for that song, iconic song I might add, Ridin Dirty.
In 2006, he was unavoidable, the voice behind the inescapable anthem Ridin Dirty, a Grammy Award winner.
And the winner is Chamillionaire featuring Crazy Bone.
Man, a person could not thank God as much as I thank God this year.
A multi-platinum artist at the peak of hip-hop domination. Then almost overnight, he went completely ghost from the rap scene. While his peers chased the spotlight, Chamillionaire disappeared. No scandals, no bankruptcies, no dramatic fall from grace or tearful goodbye tour. He just vanished.
I always had a fascination with technology. I was one of the earliest adopters of websites.
I just try to be a voice to let them know, like, hey man, there's more out there. There's more out there than just basketball and being a rapper. There's companies that are changing the world.
That's my story, man. I want to get my family out of poverty and, watch my family living good.
It's the person that understands business that's the most successful. That's what I learned.
While the industry assumed he fell off, Chamillionaire was busy playing an entirely different game. Not chasing Billboard hits, not signing major record deals, but sitting in boardrooms with Silicon Valley's biggest investors, making moves that would set him up for life. And today, he's worth over $80 million, more than most of his still rapping contemporaries combined. The rapper who once warned about police surveillance was now investing in the future of technology itself. So how did a smart Houston rapper flip the game and out-earn the industry? What did he see that the others missed? And most importantly, what can we learn from the man who ghosted fame at its peak? Chamillionaire's rise wasn't built on luck or a record label's cosign. It was built on relentless hustle, sharp business instincts, and the refusal to let anyone control his career. Born Hakeem Temadayo Siriki on November 28, 1979, he was the son of a Muslim Yoruba father from Nigeria and an African-American Christian mother. Though born in Washington, D.C., his family moved to Houston, Texas when he was just 4. Life in Houston wasn't easy. His parents separated when he was just a teen, and he eventually settled in Acres Homes, a rough neighborhood in Northwest Houston. It was there that he met his future rap partner, Paul Wall. But Chamillionaire wasn't just a kid with rap dreams. He was a student of the game. He watched talented artists get trapped in bad deals, making pennies while their labels raked in millions. Chamillionaire made a promise to himself that wouldn't be his story. If he was going to make it, he was going to do it on his own terms. The early 2000s found Chamillionaire and Paul Wall grinding harder than anyone in Texas. No distributors, no marketing teams, just two men with backpacks full of mixtapes, hitting every car show, barbershop, and swap meet in Houston. Chamillionaire treated music like a business from day one, making sure he controlled how his product was distributed. His breakout moment came with the mixtape Messiah series, a collection of projects that didn't just showcase his lyrical ability, but also proved his genius in marketing. While his peers begged DJs for radio play, Chamillionaire was building a direct-to-consumer business model, and his fan base grew rapidly. The buzz grew too big to ignore, and soon major labels came calling. But Chamillionaire wasn't about to sign a bad deal. By 2005, Chamillionaire had something most independent artists didn't: leverage. Universal Records came calling, but they weren't meeting a desperate artist. Instead of signing away his rights, he negotiated a deal on his terms. Then came The Sound of Revenge, his major label debut, and the project that turned him into a national superstar. The album debuted top 10 on the Billboard 200, but the real turning point was Ridin Dirty.
See me rolling, they hating.
When Ridin Dirty dropped, it was more than just a song. It was a cultural explosion. The track didn't just climb the charts, it dominated them, hitting #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and staying in heavy rotation for months. It went multi-platinum, becoming one of the biggest anthems of the decade. Suddenly, Chamillionaire was everywhere. Award shows, magazine covers, late-night TV. His face, his voice, his energy, unavoidable. He had everything a rapper could dream of: the fame, the fortune, the respect. For most artists, this would be the beginning of a dynasty. More albums, bigger features, endless tours, milking the moment for every dollar and ounce of fame. But Chamillionaire wasn't most artists. At the height of his powers, with the industry at his feet, he did the unthinkable. He walked away.
The game always changes like that, so nobody's gonna have it forever.
By all accounts, he was living the rap dream. So why would someone at the peak of success just disappear? The answer is simple. Chamillionaire saw what others couldn't or wouldn't see. The music industry was a losing game, and he tried to warn us. Chamillionaire had always been smarter than the average artist. While others chased fame, he chased ownership. From early in his career, he understood that masters was everything. When an artist records a song, whoever owns the master recordings controls how that song is used, whether it's played in commercials, movies, or streamed online. Most artists sign that ownership away for quick advances, but Chamillionaire wasn't about to fall into that trap. Unlike many of his peers, he fought to keep his masters, meaning that long after he stopped making albums, He was still making money from his old music. But by the late 2000s, he started seeing cracks in the system. Physical album sales were collapsing. Streaming was rising but paying artists pennies. The economics were shifting, and not in the artist's favor. Labels were taking even bigger cuts of smaller revenues, while artists who once thrived in the CD era were now struggling to make a living. But for Chamillionaire, the real revelation came when he discovered just how deep the label's greed went. He had been stuck in a rut with Universal for years. His contract kept him locked in, and no matter how much time passed, they refused to release him from his deal. He was essentially trapped, unable to put out new music on his own terms. Sensing something was off with his finances, he decided to bring in a heavyweight to investigate, Jay-Z's personal auditor, and what they uncovered was worse than he imagined.
And then this guy went and said, I'll do it for, I'm not gonna charge you up front, I'm gonna take a piece. And I was like, okay. So he goes and he finds over $600,000 that the label hid from me.
The label that had profited millions from his talent had been cooking the books, but Chamillionaire didn't just want his money. He wanted his freedom. So he made Universal an offer they couldn't refuse. Let him walk, or he'd teach every artist on the roster how to audit their money. Universal understood the threat. One artist demanding proper payment was manageable. An entire roster of artists uncovering financial discrepancies? They knew they couldn't afford that kind of exposure. And just like that, they let him go. Quick pause. If this video is hitting right, go ahead and subscribe. We're all about highlighting the grind and the wins that make a difference. Let's get back to the action.
I was so valuable helping this company, they decided to give me a little ownership in the company, which they called advisory shares. When they got bought by Google, I made money. And then when I made money, I was like, wait a second. Why do they tell us rappers to go make it rain at the strip club? Like, why are we doing that? That's a waste of money. Let's do this.
For most artists, leaving music means fading into obscurity. For Chamillionaire, it meant ascending to a whole new level. The seeds were planted early. In 2004, while still making music, he founded Chamillionaire Entertainment, his own label distributed through Universal. Even then, he was thinking like an owner, not just a performer. When he finally broke free from Universal in January 2011, he had already begun plotting his next chapter. Imagine winning the game and then walking away before it plays you. That's Chamillionaire. While his contemporaries were chasing radio spins, he was sitting in tech conferences, absorbing knowledge about valuations, funding rounds, and market disruption. He wasn't just attending, he was studying, positioning himself at the intersection of entertainment and technology. But his most pivotal move wasn't an investment, it was a relationship. Mark Suster, a heavyweight venture capitalist, saw something in the former rapper that many missed: raw business intelligence that couldn't be taught.
And there was a VC that I met with named Mark, and he was just like, I guess, inspired by my curiosity, and he was just like, all right, I'll give you some information. So I had went to his blog, and I noticed that on his blog, he had so many articles just talking about everything from early stage deals to seed deals to venture capital, so much stuff that I didn't know. I just started reading it, and then I started feeling like, man, this dude is Mr. Miyagi.
Under Suster's mentorship, Chamillionaire transformed. He wasn't just another celebrity throwing money at shiny objects. He was becoming a legitimate analyst of business opportunities, studying financial models and market trends with the same precision he once used to craft lyrics. He paid attention and leveraged his connections and exposure in the right direction.
I started seeing a lot of businesses that were cannibalizing the music industry. So I started going to tech conference after tech conference. I was listening, I was hearing what everybody was saying. Then I started advising for a company. I was just a person that was helping them get influencers and celebrities. They might say, hey, we trying to get in touch with Chris Brown. I would be like, all right, I'll help you get in touch with Chris Brown.
A smart move that most should have and should make. While Chamillionaire was building his investment empire, the rap game he left behind was changing fast. Some artists adapted, but many fell victim to industry politics, bad deals, and the brutal economics of streaming. Technology was reshaping music. Some used it to thrive, while others got left behind. He wasn't a victim of these changes. He got ahead of the curve by becoming part of the revolution itself. His entrepreneurial journey actually began back in 2003, before his mainstream music breakthrough, when he invested in Fly Rice Custom Toys, a Houston auto dealer and customization shop. Partnering with his friend Big Ernest, Chamillionaire helped secure corporate money and build clientele, showing his business acumen long before Silicon Valley came calling. That same hustle led him to create a tour bus company in 2006, after realizing how much artists spent renting tour buses. Instead of burning money on rentals, Chamillionaire bought the buses himself. They were rolling luxury studios, equipped with internet, cable, recording facilities, and all the amenities artists needed on the road. But these were small plays. His biggest moves? Still to come. His first major tech win came with Maker Studios, a YouTube-based media company that was revolutionizing content creation before most people understood what content creation even meant. When Disney acquired Maker for $500 million in 2014, Chamillionaire just didn't profit, he proved his vision. One hit wasn't enough though, Chamillionaire wanted more. Then came Ring, a smart doorbell company that seemed niche, until you understood its potential to transform home security. Chamillionaire saw it. He invested early, then watched as Amazon acquired the company for a staggering $1.1 billion. Keeping his winning streak alive, he invested in Cruise Automation, a self-driving car company, in 2013. By 2016, General Motors acquired it for over $1 billion. At this point, it was clear. It wasn't luck anymore. It was a pattern recognition from a mind trained to see value where others didn't. By the mid-2010s, Chamillionaire had already proven himself in tech, but instead of playing it safe, he took another risk. While Uber was dominating the headlines, Chamillionaire saw potential in this underdog competitor, Lyft. Most investors assumed Uber would crush the competition, but Chamillionaire did his homework. He noted that Lyft's approach was different, more driver-friendly policies, better community engagement, and stronger brand loyalty. So he made his move, investing in Lyft early, before it became a publicly traded company. This investment turned out to be another massive win. In March 2019, Lyft went public on the Nasdaq Stock Exchange, debuting at a staggering $24 billion valuation. For early investors like Chamillionaire, this meant huge returns on their initial investments. With so many brag-worthy money moves under his belt, the natural step for Chamillionaire was to enter the world of venture capital. His relationship with Mark Suster led to an invitation to join Upfront Ventures as an entrepreneur in residence in 2015, a position reserved for seasoned business minds with unique perspectives. Now, if you're wondering what an entrepreneur in residence does, hear from the man himself.
I will go in there and sit in there every day and be involved in all the pitch meetings when founders come in and they want to raise some capital and they're explaining and pitching to a venture capitalist. I'll be sitting in the room just listening. I meet different founders. I give my opinion sometimes, but ultimately you're there to gain enough information and enough understanding to eventually decide what company you want to build.
Chamillionaire is also big on pouring into minority-led companies to help diversify the startup world, which was on show when he lent his name and funds to Sienna Sauce, the gourmet condiment company founded by 16-year-old Tyler Simone Creighton. Despite its modest fundraising, it's far from a lemonade stand operation. The company is already in over 50 retail locations and has already done approximately $190,000 in revenue. In the summer of 2017, Chamillionaire hinted that he was working on something far bigger than music, with the quiet launch of a new social media platform. Then in February 2018 at the Upfront Summit, he officially introduced Convos, a groundbreaking app designed to let influencers connect directly with their fans. It only made sense that the same guy who once broke all ringtone records was now shaping the future of digital interactions. But Chamillionaire wasn't just dabbling in tech. With over 60 reported investments, calling him a tech investor doesn't quite do him justice. He had become an investment mogul, a key player in building the companies of tomorrow. While many of his musical peers still relied on touring and merchandise to stay afloat, Chamillionaire hadn't fallen off. He leveled up. So what can we learn from Chamillionaire's remarkable transformation? 3 key principles stand out. 1. Fame is temporary. Ownership is forever.
The one thing I was really confident about is like, I gotta make money off the music. I just don't understand the idea of, putting your blood, sweat, and tears on music and then not making the money.
This applies to more than just music. Jobs, industries, and trends can all disappear. Most rappers make millions, but few stay rich because they don't own anything. They get massive checks and spend them just as fast, forgetting that short-term income isn't real wealth. Chamillionaire did the opposite. He made money from music, but instead of wasting it, he invested it in assets that would grow in value over time. So what's the lesson? If you're making money now, don't just spend it. Put it into things that appreciate. That could mean stocks, real estate, starting a business, or even just saving and investing smartly. The goal isn't just to earn, it's to own. 2. The smartest move is knowing when to pivot. Success in any field isn't just about working hard, it's about knowing when to switch lanes. Chamillionaire could have stayed in rap, fighting to stay relevant in an industry that was changing fast. But instead of clinging to fading opportunity, he adapted. He saw the shift toward streaming, recognized the music industry's financial struggles, and pivoted into something more sustainable. How does this apply to you? If you're in a career or industry that's shrinking or no longer serving you, it might be time to rethink your next steps. The world is changing fast. Jobs are becoming obsolete. Businesses are evolving, and new opportunities appear every day. Be willing to learn new skills, explore different paths, and invest in your future instead of holding on to something that's no longer working. 3. Real success doesn't have to be loud. In an era of Instagram flexing and constant self-promotion, Chamillionaire built his empire in relative silence. No flashy announcements for every deal, no social media bragging about each win, just focused execution and results that eventually spoke for themselves. He wasn't chasing clout, he was building wealth that would outlast any trend. The lesson? Work in silence. Let success make the noise. Even though he left the music game, he he never forgot his hip-hop roots. Instead of just securing his own fortune, he's been working to pull others up with him, educating artists, athletes, and entrepreneurs on how to make the right plays before the industry traps him. The former rap star could have played the game like everyone else. He could have chased hits, followed trends, and battled to stay relevant in an industry designed to discard artists once their moment passes. Instead, he rewrote his story entirely, built an $80 million empire, not by conforming to expectations, and secured his future. Chamillionaire did what his name always suggested. He adapted, evolved, and turned his wins into millions, quietly and strategically. Most don't get this chance. By the time they figure out how the game really works, they're already too deep in the trap. Chamillionaire got out before it happened to him, and that decision made him richer than he ever imagined possible. If you made it this far, you know the game is deeper than music. Be sure to hit like, subscribe, and let's keep uncovering the real stories behind success and hustle. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.